in '94, a league was born with a mighty roar, defending rights to bear and to own. Standing tall, they made it known. For the dream of liberty, they'd take a stand, protecting freedoms in this blessed land. With every voice that joins the fight, they shine a beacon in the night. Oh, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, champions of rights we all agree, to hold responsibly, to live so free. They're the guardians of our liberty. Informing minds with truth and with care, they fight injustice, face it fair. From country roads to cities call, they're building bridges one and all. With a mission clear and heart so bold, their stories now are being told. From every mountain and every glen, they're the strength of free women and men. Citizens Defense League, champions of rights we all agree, to own responsibly, to live so free. They're the guardians of our liberty. With a mission clear and heart so bold, their stories now being told. From every mountain and every glen, they're the strength of free women and men. Oh, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, champions of rights we all agree, to own responsibly, to live so free. They're the guardians of our liberty. They're the guardians of our liberty.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Welcome. Happy Sunday. I hope you all are staying warm on this frigid
Hmm.
evening. I'm showing 18 degrees outside. Woohoo!
Yeah, Central Virginia. And we had somebody from Christiansburg that they called it iceberg. And I'll bet.
Yes. But things are about to heat up in Richmond.
Yes.
We are looking forward to a interesting session. I think that's what you called it.
Yeah. The king of understatements there.
Yes. What do you want to start with? The meeting that we watched where they were discussing the permit to purchase, or do you want to
Well,
go
we
over the
can.
bills, or what?
I want to do a quick check. I don't think anything has changed. Nope. Yeah, they haven't put any new bills up on the legislative tracker in quite a few days. Yeah, we sat in and listened to, or we watched basically a seminar given to legislators about the permit to purchase a firearm, and put on by a Bloomberg puppet, which is part of the Johns Hopkins Center. Johns Hopkins, they have a research area for gun control. They call it gun safety, and we know that that's not what it is at all. It's gun control, and and so we watched that. That kind of gave us a lot of ideas on where they were going with legislation that has not showed up. To be clear, there's no doubt in my mind that the Democrats do not want a repeat of 2020. They don't want 50,000 of you showing up again. That was a huge embarrassment back then when that many people showed up. It caused them to change course. Yeah, they passed some gun control. They toned it down. They got rid of a bunch of it. So they don't want that again. It's clear. So what they're doing is they're trying to sneak it in a little bit later. They're waiting closer to lobby day so that we don't have time to react. Our members that are sitting back saying, well, I don't know if I need to do anything. They're hoping they'll do that until time's up and they don't have a chance to do anything at all, or the rally is much smaller. That's what they're doing. So far, only two bills have showed up on the tracker that were pre-filed gun control bills, and we're watching. We know more is coming. In fact, if you look at certain news articles here and there, it's out there, but the press is not playing any of this up big time. This is like a local news interview might mention something is coming, like an assault weapon ban or magazine capacity limitation. So we had a chance to listen in on something they're purposely holding until the session starts in a little bit in the later early January. And so once the session starts, a few days into that, these things are going to start popping up, like warts. They'll be popping up out there, and we know that the what they want to do is really horrible. I mean, you don't underestimate even this first one that's coming in. This permit to purchase is a real monster, and that's tied in with a background check, a waiting period when you buy a gun. Now they're looking at 5 days for that. That'll destroy gun shows. I don't know how they'll survive that. And of course, that's the point. It's not about saving lives. It's about disarming us every little way they can. And in this case, it's like, oh, they don't like these gun shows. Too damn much freedom going on there. Too many of these uppity citizens buying legally owned guns. Oh, no, we can't have that. So they want to put in a 5 day waiting period, and that'll destroy gun shows. So that's what they want. Now they're going to say, oh, it'll reduce suicides, it'll reduce impulsive things. That's their excuse. It's always an excuse about crime or suicides. Um, that's not their concern. Suicides does not bother them.
No, and
One lick.
as a matter of fact, the study that was done about how many suicides it would prevent, the number that they gave was over a 10-year period, and it worked out to 1/4% of the suicides that happen annually in Virginia. And Survell quoted it would save 600 homicides a year. It would prevent 600 homicides a year. Well, we don't even have 600 homicides a year in Virginia as a general rule. There were a couple of years where we hit that mark, but as a rule, it is less than that. And that 600 number was, again, over a 10-year period. So you're talking about preventing 1% of the homicides with this law. And it would require fingerprinting, and it would require a refreshed permit every 5 years. And to get the permit, you would have had to take an in-person class with range time, with live fire, within the last 2 years. You would have to pay for your fingerprinting. You would have to pay for the class. And oh, by the way, I would bet you that in order to have the class qualify, it has to be DCJS certified, which is incredibly expensive for the instructors to qualify.
Oh, absolutely. And again, this is about disarming us. Again, none of this is safety. It's disarming us. So they're going to make it as hard as possible to get a gun. They want to discourage you. You kind of go, oh, I got to get fingerprinted. I got to pay these fees. I got to find a class. I've got to take off to take the class. It includes shooting and all of this. So and here's, some of you might be thinking, well, I've already got all my guns. I don't know that I need to worry about this. Well, what happens if you see a new gun you want to get? What if one of your old guns gives up the ghost and you really can't fix it? What if you send your gun back to the manufacturer? And this has happened to me. I think it was a Glock I sent back. They couldn't get it to work, this perfection thing. Couldn't get it to work. So they ended up eventually replacing and sending me a new gun. But to do that, I had to go back to a dealer and do a background check to get my new replacement gun for the one that they couldn't fix. They couldn't get the thing to stay in battery. So
And what about?
if I wasn't ready, Pat,
Mhm,
then I would have to take a course. I would have to
mhm,
get fingerprinted, and I might have
mhm.
to wait a month and a half for my for this whole thing to be processed before I could pick up. And that might
The
be my only gun. I
Right.
might
They
have
said
to.
the permit is if they can take up to 45 days to issue the permit. So the other thing is when it doesn't reduce the crime rates and they decide that now you need a permit to own guns, not just to buy them, but to just flat out own them, because you know that's coming next.
Yeah, it's not going to end. They're going to stretch it as far as they think they can. But let's look at some realistic scenarios. Okay, so let's say you're a newly divorced young lady and never needed a gun, never cared about guns. And now you find out that your husband, your ex husband, plans on killing you, a murder suicide. And you know that this guy is loony enough to really do it. You're really, really under a threat. He knows where you work, he knows where you shop, he knows where you live. He knows a lot about you, and now you're truly in trouble. Well, if you call the police and say, hey, could you post an officer outside of my door? No, the answer is no. They will not do that. They cannot do that. You're on your own. They'll tell you to call them if he shows up. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So now you realize in a panic that you better get a gun and get one now because this guy could show up at any time to finish you off. By the way, this scenario has happened to people. There are dead women around because they were in a waiting period area. Now you've got to find a class. Do some hunting around, talk to various places, trying to find a class. Now you've got to schedule to get in the class. They might be booked. Can you imagine when this thing starts going? If 2.5 million people suddenly need to get one of these permits, so you got to find a class and get into it. So you take the class, which now includes shooting, and now you end up waiting, and you have to get fingerprinted, which means you may have to take off work because these police departments don't necessarily fingerprint you. They won't do it 24/7, 365. It's going to be, Monday between 10 and 11 and Wednesday between 2 and 6 or whatever. They're going to have that kind of a setup. You've got to figure in there and go get fingerprinted. Then you have to wait up to 45 days. You've got to survive all this time. We're probably talking 2 weeks to get in, find somewhere to take the course, get fingerprinted. 2 weeks. Now another 45 days starts for you as you're wondering how long you're going to live at this point because you've got nothing to protect yourself with. You have no guns. At the end of 45 days, you can finally go buy a gun. Well, now guess what? You go through another background check when you buy the gun, and they want to put in a 5 day waiting period. So you finally buy the gun. So now it's been almost 2 months, and now you got to wait another 5 days before you can pick it up. Another trip to the gun dealer at some point in your busy schedule to finally get your hands on that gun and be able to protect yourself. If you can last that long, then I guess your husband wasn't a threat, but more than likely, the rest of your family will be attending a funeral in the near future. So that's one of the problems. Problem number two, you're a very poor person living in a bad neighborhood. There's plenty of them in Richmond, where every night there seems to be a shooting. You're in a bad neighborhood. You're poor. You're maybe you're a single mother. You got children. You got almost no money, and now suddenly you have to find, if you want to protect your family and yourself, now again, you got to find a course to take. Now, these courses will not be cheap because it includes a shooting thing. So you've got to go to a shooting range. That's going to raise the fee up. Number one. Number two, I expect they're going to make a pretty high standard that you've got to be trained to, again, to discourage you. So that means this course is necessarily going to cost, I don't know, a couple, $200-$300, almost as much as a cheap gun, just to get in. And there'd be a limited number of instructors because the ranges generally don't allow an instructor that isn't paid by the range or on their payroll or somehow associated with them to use their range to teach new shooters. Most of them have that policy. And so that's going to eliminate a whole bunch of instructors who don't have that kind of relationship with a range. So now
And
you've got a limited number.
don't
And
forget that last year they wanted to take the NRA and the other qualifications for instructors out and make it just DJ,
that's
Department of
true.
Criminal Justice Services, DCJS certified instructors. And they said, oh, well, the judge has discretion. He can allow it if he wants to. But how many judges do you think are actually going to do that?
Yeah, baloney, right? Yeah, that's USCCA was the other one. And so they're going to do
Yeah.
that. So now you're out $200-300 as a poor person just to get the training and the fingerprint. Oh, the fingerprinting will be additional. Usually, I think they charge between $5 and $10 for the police to do your fingerprinting. So you add that into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to pay $50 probably, and it could be more, it could be a little less. We think it's going to be around $50 is our best guess at this point to apply to get the permit to purchase a gun. Okay, so now that's another 50 you got to pay. Now you wait your 45 days on top of everything else. Then you've now got to buy the gun. So that's another whatever it is. If you're poor, you're probably going to be going for a $200, $250, $300 gun because that's all you can afford, and then $2 transfer fee. So when you're done, there are going to be a whole lot of poor people that simply will be priced out of the market. They will not be able to justify $600-700 to get that gun to protect themselves. This is that's a travesty. And again, the gun controllers in the General Assembly don't care. If that poor person dies, oh well, too bad. They really don't care. And that's the sad part about this. They don't represent the people anymore, not the gun controllers in there. They absolutely do not. So there is so much wrong with what they want to do. We have to fight back on this, but it gets really tricky because you see the problem is somebody like Pat is an FFL. They watch her the BATF and the equivalent for Virginia and the Virginia State Police are going to watch all the gun dealers, including Pat, like a hawk. She really has no way to push back against this as a dealer. She's got to see that permit to purchase. She's got to make you wait 5 days or whatever. She has no choice. Otherwise, they're going to take away her license and put her in jail. They know about her. You could do something like buy a gun from somebody without going through any of this at a private sale, which would be they're going to make that it would be illegal because you didn't go through her. And you do something like that, you take a chance on going to jail. But you could do a certain amount of something like that, where you're basically protesting the laws. You're not giving in to them. But the dealers won't be able to do that. You're gonna, that would be up to you to take that risk. But they're stuck, and it's kind of like when COVID hit. The government actually didn't go in Virginia, didn't actually go after individuals who weren't masked up. They told the stores, if you let customers in here that aren't masked, we're going to pull your business license. So this was a clever way of turning the stores into the bad guy, just like this would turn the gun dealers into the bad guy. Because people are going, well, why do I have to do this and the other? The gun dealers are going to have no choice. We have really got to nip this in the bud. This is a very serious threat. Even if you've got your guns now, you got to think about it could change. You may need some more. Or what about the next generation, your children, your grandchildren? No, we have to stand up to this and find ways to push back. Yeah, there have been some jurisdictions that have said this is constitutional. We're throwing out the baloney flag on that one and saying, no, there's no way in the end this would survive a Supreme Court challenge. But we've got to get it somewhere like the Supreme Court. And that could take years. So we could be stuck under this regime for years until we get a court to overthrow it. But this is one of the worst things to come along in Virginia gun control that we've seen, quite frankly. It's more of a threat to our rights than a lot of people understand. And we're going to have to fight it very hard.
Yeah, and their justification is, well, 14 states already have some sort of permit to purchase, and it's been upheld by the courts. And they said that even the Supreme Court refused to take the case. Well, yes, the Supreme Court did refuse to take one of the cases because it hadn't finished working its way through all of the lower courts yet. And except in dire emergencies, the Supreme Court simply does not take cases that haven't worked all the way through the lower courts. So, yeah, they turned it down and didn't grant cert, but not because they agreed with the position.
Exactly. And of course, the gun controllers won't tell you that. Well, let's talk about other things that gun controllers won't tell you about. One of the arguments on this whole thing was, well, look, Missouri got rid of a permit to purchase back in 2008. And they said right after they got rid of this is what they were telling the legislators. They said after that, crime went up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true. But they left out the other part of that. Crime was already going up and had been going up for years in Missouri before they did this. So it really didn't change the trajectory. It
Right,
didn't.
and they
It
said
didn't.
that Connecticut, when they passed their permit to purchase, that suicides went down. But what they don't say is that nationwide suicides went down, and Connecticut's did not go down as fast as nationwide did. And in fact, the majority of those years, Connecticut's suicide rates actually went up by 19%. So,
Yeah.
they pick and choose the points that they want to present in order to prove their case. You can prove anything you want to with statistics by cherry picking the data, the facts that you include in those statistics.
Or flat out making it up. I don't trust
Right.
them as far as I can throw them when it comes to this stuff.
Right. You have to remember that these studies were paid for by Bloomberg.
Yeah. Geez, I wonder how they would turn out. They wouldn't
Right.
be biased, would they? These people wouldn't lose their jobs if they came to the wrong conclusions when working for Bloomberg, could they?
I don't know. So
It's crazy.
how do we counteract this, Philip? What's the plan?
Well, number one, it would be nice to have a big lobby day. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would help a great deal. It's really hard. It's really hard to say how this is going to turn out. But if we have a puny little lobby day, that is going to send absolutely the wrong message as these guys slam their foot down on the gas pedal. A big
Yeah.
turnout, and they're going to hold off a little bit on punching that gas so hard, just like they did in 2020. It's really going to be up to gun owners. If they stay
They're
complacent like they did in the elections, we may be in trouble.
they're playing a strategy game here. Number one, they made it illegal to carry on Capitol grounds. And that, I mean, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, well, if I can't carry, I'm not going to lobby day. Well, the more people that say that, the longer it's going to be until we can carry on our property again. The Capitol is our property. It belongs to the people of Virginia. And in order for us to regain our rights, we need to show up. We need to be the squeaky wheel. We cannot be the silent majority anymore.
Mm-mm.
And, Lobby Day 2020, well over 50,000 people showed up, and it scared the pants off of them. So they passed what they actually called the VCDL law to prevent carry on Capitol grounds. You can still carry across the street. So show up, please. And there will be a bus where you can check your EDC and go in and lobby and then go back and pick it up. So no excuses. We have buses coming. We have people talking about getting buses from other areas as well. You can email bus@vcdl.org. If you are organizing a bus, send an email to bus@vcdl.org and we will advertise it on our webpage for you on the bus page. So, we're trying to make it as easy as we can for you to get there. And hopefully the weather will be a little bit warmer than it was in 2020. But even if it's not, we have to do what we have to do.
The
There's a
General Assembly
price
isn't
to
going to
freedom.
stop if it's cold, are they, Pat? They'll be there
Absolutely
no
not.
matter how cold it is. They'll be there passing laws. So we need to be there. And also it's interesting. We have, as you know, GOA has been a great partner to VCDL ever since the beginning of VCDL. We've had a great working relationship with Gun Owners of America, and I highly recommend them. But something new this year as well, the NRA, for the first time, now that they've had reorganization, they've rethought their organization. They're trying to get it where it should be now, making up for years of when things were run completely wrong. They're now turning that ship around and have turned it around in many ways. And they are going to be part of advertising this. They're going to be part of this. They're going to be stepping in. If you remember in 2020, they had their own lobby day, which VCDL also uh, told our members to attend that as well. And they did. They had a few thousand people show up, nowhere near what we had a few days later at our lobby day, but they did. Now this is different. Now they're happy to work with us and help us advertise this and be very much a part of it. So we look forward to working with the NRA. This is something going on that we need everybody together. We don't need this. Isn't about making money. This isn't about being the number one organization. This is about winning this battle because that's all that matters. As far as we're concerned, we shouldn't even have to exist as a group because of the Second Amendment and shall not be infringed. But that's not the way the real world works. But again, so we're hoping that again, with everybody rowing together, GOA, the NRA, VCDL, and who knows if other groups will be stepping in, that we can make this a big lobby day, have a unified message going into this. Yeah, we're going to have to attend these meetings. I'm going to do my best to shame the Democrats on this stuff. What they're doing, what that permit to purchase would do to poor people, what it would do to somebody in an emergency that needs a gun now, or they're going to be dead. That kind of stuff. They need to be shamed on it because they're going to get people killed. This is going to take lives. It absolutely is. So if they whether they care or not, we need to shame them on it. We need to get letters to the editor. Once this bill goes in, we need to start letters to the editor. I'll probably crank out a few saying, "Hey, we need to tell the world what they're up to. We need people to understand the gravity of what they're trying to do with that." And this isn't to leave out the fact that they want to ban AR-15s and the like, that they want to limit your magazine capacity. I've been warning about this since 2020. They want to expand red flag laws. We don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but watching other states and knowing that Virginia just tags along with these other gun control states, they're going to want to expand who can call in a red flag on you. Right now, we red flag laws are horrible, but ours is the least horrible probably in the country because only two people can call in a red flag on you, and that's a police officer or a Commonwealth attorney, which is a prosecutor. And even then, there must be an investigation, and the results of that investigation need to be presented to a judge, and he needs to be convinced that it really is an issue and this is not baloney. But that's of course they don't. They want it to make it so that the person living 20 blocks away can file a red flag against you and get your guns taken away. So they're going to be busy, I'm certain, trying to expand that out. So family members can declare it. You name it. Employers and your fellow employees, neighbors. So we need to fight that. But we knew that they would be expanding this when they put it in. That this was never going to end until they had every possible way to take away your guns without due process, even if it's only for a period of time. So that's coming up. There are some really, really bad things. And again, we either push back or not. I know some people have said, well, I'm going to move to West Virginia. And again, I'm so glad our founding fathers didn't say, well, I don't know, going up against the world superpower, which would be England back in the 1700s. Yeah, they were a superpower in the world. I don't know, geez, I think I'll just, we'll not fight them, or I'll move to Canada, or I'll do whatever. I'm glad they didn't do that. Where would we be now? No, this is war. We need to fight back, or they'll run us over. If we don't put up a good fight, then this is just going to continue. We've got to make a third rail out there that says, "Don't touch this," because if you do,
Absolutely.
there's consequences.
Yeah, the 2020, for people that don't think 2020 was effective because we ended up with some gun control being passed, look at the bills that were dropped like they were not even hot potatoes. They were scalding hot bricks, and they dropped those bills so darn fast, and nobody knows what happened. They just boom disappeared, gone. The assault weapons ban, gone the day after Lobby Day in 2020,
Yeah.
and so many bills. If you read the original bill and read what actually passed on the few bills that passed, you will see the effect. And we have to make, like Philip said, gun control has to become the third rail. And we do that by showing up in huge numbers. We have to make 2020 look like the small little rally that we normally see. So, and we
Yeah.
have to do that every year. We can't sleep. We can't rest on our loyal laurels or coast. We have to be vigilant every single year and participate in the process. I don't know how many of you get the VA alert, but there was a piece in there that I wrote about the cost of freedom. If you haven't read it, please read it. If you have read it, please share it. We need to wake people up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, notes in here. He says civil war is coming. Well, let's pray that doesn't happen because everybody loses in a situation like that. Let's pray we still have hopefully what we need to avoid going there. We still can vote and so forth, but um, ultimately, what's scary is there is a point. We know that there is a point where we've hit tyranny, and that's going to be a scary damn time if we hit that. That's why we need to work now so that we don't end up there. We want to avoid that at all costs. That will be a nightmare that will be huge for everybody. Both
Yep,
sides are going to lose on that. So now is not the time to sit back and just say, "Well, civil war is coming." No, now's the time to get out and fight even harder so that does not happen. It's
absolutely. You don't want to see that. Your families don't want to see that, and none of us. We do not want to have to live through that. So what we do is we participate in the process now. We get loud and proud, and we show up for every single committee meeting. We show up at Lobby Day. We talk to our local governments and we ask them to reaffirm their sanctuary status and make them stronger than they were. Talk to your sheriff, talk to your Commonwealth attorney, get them to say, I will not enforce unconstitutional laws. I will stand with the people that elected me and I will protect their rights. That is the function of government, is to protect the right of the individual.
not to infringe on it, to protect it.
Absolutely.
And if the sheriffs and Commonwealth attorneys say, "I'm not going to enforce this crap if it's unconstitutional," then the General Assembly becomes a paper tiger. Because it's like, all right, he passed it, but it doesn't affect anybody because it's not being enforced. Now, of course, it will affect people that live in Fairfax because that government, your government up there, would enforce slavery if they passed it down here again. Honestly, I have no doubt about it. They're a mess up there. And again, all you can do is push back against those people. So we got a lot to do here, but we need everybody to pull together. This is not the time to go into a shell. We need to stand up, spread the word. I mean, for crying out loud, if you're a member of a gun range, if you're a member of a hunting club, especially hunter clubs, hunters are notoriously not even registered to vote. You guys, if you are hunters, you need to wake up your fellow hunters. That not only to protect your sport for the future, but to protect it so your children and their children grow up in a country that's still free. You've got to wake these guys up. You can no longer be about just you, whether it affects you or not. If it affects your fellow citizens, then their right to keep and bear arms, and you need to be involved. Everybody needs to be involved. We cannot let them. We cannot cede ground and say, "Well, it's okay to take away rifles." No, it's not okay to take away rifles, semi-automatic or otherwise. Not okay. Okay, to take away handguns. No, it's not okay to take away anybody's handguns, whether you own one or don't own one. The same thing with shotguns. By the way, that shooting in Australia, where they've got all this extremely strict gun control, and what are they? I forget what the numbers are now. Is it like 24 people that were murdered? The shooters, by the way, down there, they had a shotgun and shotguns, and they also had rifles. Now, was it an AR type rifle? Oh no, it was a bolt action rifle, straight pull, bolt, bang, 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 not semi-auto. And they did all of that with the bolt action. So those hunters who say they'll never come for your bolt action rifle are just living in a false reality. The people are thinking they wouldn't come for your shotgun. They used a shotgun down there. To think they won't come for your shotgun are not living in reality. Again, we pull together. And as our founding fathers said, we either hang together or we'll surely hang separately.
Absolutely. Our strength is in our numbers. And the numbers that showed up in 2020 were fabulous, but we need more, and we need more consistency with it. So there are a number of ways that you can get involved. One, come to Lobby Day and bring 10 friends with you. Buy somebody a seat on the bus that can't afford it. Once the session starts, watch the VA alert, and if you're not subscribed, it's a free subscription. Members automatically get the emails, but if you're not a member, which you should be, but if you can't afford to be a member right now, you can sign up for our VA alerts for free. And when there are committee meetings, Philip will put the notice out. You can comment on the bills in the committee meeting. Those comments are public and they go to every single committee member. You can sign up to testify in the committee meeting online. You do not have to go to Richmond. If you're close enough to go, it carries a lot more weight if you're there. And even if you're not going to testify, we can use bodies in the audience wearing the Gun Saves Lives stickers. But the more people that show up on our side, the more clout that we have, and the more afraid they will be to pass some of these heinous laws.
Yeah,
So,
I'd like them shaking their heads and go, "Damn it, the gun ban in the building didn't work. Look at all those people out there that are wearing those Gun Saves Live stickers." I want them just lamenting that they couldn't stop us, that the gun ban didn't actually work. There's tons of people in the audience. I will also remind you that you can at least have a folding metal blade knife if the blade itself is less than 3 inches. If you bought one of the VCDL switchblades, that blade is like 2.94 inches in length, and that's perfectly fine to bring to the General Assembly. So you don't have to go in with absolutely nothing. But it does. What matters is that you're there. And as Pat said earlier, we're not going to be allowed to carry there if we just give up and walk away, because there'll be no incentive to ever put it back the way it had been all those years when people could carry
decades.
there.
Yes.
Decades worth of being able to carry there with no incidents. They had
Probably
no reason to
centuries.
do this.
Yeah.
Probably. It probably goes back to
Yeah.
the founding. I don't know if there was ever any kind of ban. When I first started doing this in 1998, you didn't even go through any kind of security. You just went in the building. You could open carry, you could conceal carry. It was all fine and dandy. After 2001, when we had 9/11, a couple of years later, they said, well, you got to have a permit to get in the building. That
Mhm.
changed. But other than that, it stayed like that all the way through 2020.
Mhm.
when they changed the law.
Mhm.
And at the same time, that's when we gave local government the ability to pass gun control, which again, fortunately, 90% of the state has not done. Including like where I live in Chesterfield and most of the state. But Richmond, the places that you really need to carry, like Richmond, did this. And of course,
Mhm.
they did not lower their crime rate at
So,
all. And we knew it
matter of
wouldn't.
fact, Alexandria was one of the first ones to pass local gun control, and their crime rate went up afterwards.
Yep. And they don't
Yeah.
care. It's not about crime for them. They just
No.
didn't want us carrying guns. They don't care how many people die up there. We told them it was going to happen. And they didn't do
Absolutely.
anything to repeal it. They had a chance to exempt permit holders in up in what was it, Fairfax City,
Hmm.
and they in the end they decided not to do it. So they generally don't care. Best you can do with people like that is vote them out or shame them.
Yep. Yep. So, um, other things that you can do: network with your neighbors and keep an eye on local government because it is a thing. Local government gun control is a thing that they can pass certain laws, certain bans in government buildings and parks and permitted events, things like that. We are still fighting lawsuits to overturn a lot of those. Um, we still have a lawsuit going to overturn the ban in ABC stores. I mean, that is about as far from a sensitive area as you can get. Same with the roadside rest areas. And we're picking these things off one at a time, but that takes money. So we need to keep participating in the process. The closer the government is to you, the smaller the government, the more local it is, the more control you have. And your local governments can put pressure on the state representatives to vote the right way as well. So talk to your county supervisors and your city council and get them to put pressure on the General Assembly and tell them our citizens don't want this and we don't want our crime rates going up because people can't defend themselves.
No, and we just want our rights. Just basically, shall not be infringed says it all. And the fact that even the
Mm,
previous Supreme Courts throughout the years have come up with some of the things that they said the Supreme Court or that the Second Amendment does allow. Best I can tell, they pulled that out of thin air. What they the um, some of the localities that they're some of the things that they say you can legitimately ban under the Second Amendment. A lot of that's like, where is that in the Second Amendment? Shall not be infringed. How simple is that?
yeah.
But no, they decided some infringe. And if people tell you, and you'll hear this, well, no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. I go, oh, really? So you're telling me that I could be enslaved under certain conditions? Or you're telling women that they could be told they can't vote under certain conditions.
That are not protected by the government doesn't like, then that religion can be banned or partially banned or
Yeah,
or restricted. So
there are lots of examples where
absolutely.
amendments
So
are absolute.
another, yeah, rights are something that we're born with. Contrary to what Tim Kaine thinks, they were not created by the government and granted by the government. We are born with them, and every living thing has rights. But another thing that you can Oh, sorry. Apparently, I'm having microphone troubles.
Yeah, I'm getting
But
a buzz. Oops. I don't know if that's on your end or mine, Pat. Is anybody else hearing a buzz or is that me? Hi, they're getting it too. It must be, it's either you or me, but they're getting a buzzing, Pat.
let me see. Is that better?
It's gone now. Yeah.
Okay. I just switched microphones. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, if you've had to use a firearm in self-defense, or if you have a reason that you're passionate about the right to keep and bear arms and you want to share it, send an email to academy@vcdl.org with the subject line, "What's your why?" And we can use these stories when we go to the General Assembly because personal stories carry weight. And if we say we have 50 people or 100 people that have had to defend themselves, or we're in a situation where they had a need to purchase a gun immediately and couldn't wait 2 months or even 5 days. So all of these things help.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, let me see. Um, Take a look at some of the other items. I'm always working on the next VA alert. Oh yeah, somebody forwarded me a thing that it's with Big Boys Guns, which are big supporters of VCDL. They putting together a package with an AR-15 kit, so people that don't have one or want an extra one can get it now. Although I don't expect a ban will happen before July 1. But yeah, it wouldn't hurt because you never know. If you wait too late and they do put this in and it gets signed, there's going to be a big rush. If you don't own an AR-15, it may be tough to get in the queue and get one before the ban hits. So anyhow, that's interesting. They put that out there. We'll
And
probably be seeing more of that.
Palmetto State Armory is still producing the Virginia 15 lowers. And I'm sorry, I just got a note from my husband. The $10 from every one of the Virginia 15 lowers goes to VCDL. They are out of stock at the moment, but they are producing more. So you can click the notify me. Philip, if you want to put the link to that in the next VA alert again.
Okay.
It was in one week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And another issue on universal background check cases, you may recall out there, Jay Jones, who's not sworn in yet, he's not our attorney general. He's got no power, no nothing. When our universal background check case that we won and struck it down by a court, and the time to oppose that came and pretty much went on the very last day. Jay Jones, using an outside legal team to file the paperwork, said, it expires today, but could you extend it out to the end of January so that when I'm Attorney General, I have a chance to appeal this? Well, the court has given him the opportunity, along with our attorneys, to come in and plead his case in front of the court. We're kind of surprised that they did that because he's got no standing. He's got nothing going for him at this point. But maybe it's a courtesy kind of thing, knowing that eventually he will get in. I don't know. But hopefully they will tell him to pound sand when he actually goes in and asks for this. If they do anything other than that, that will set a horrible precedent for all kinds of things.
Absolutely. Can you imagine anybody that's been elected but hasn't been sworn into office, being able to meddle with the current administration in any capacity? So,
Yeah,
I mean, that's just not how things work.
yeah, that's what Spanberger tried to do to our current governor. He tried to get involved. It wasn't guns; it was another issue. I think it was universities and assigning people to be, on the heads of these universities, and she decided to get in and start laying some groundwork. And the and Governor Youngkin said, "Yeah, no, you're not in office yet. I'm the governor, and no," and put the kibosh on it. But these guys are just so anxious to grab power and to start wielding it. That's the kind of people you want to keep away from power. They
Oh,
want it for
absolutely.
the wrong damn reason.
Hmm. Yep. That you want the person in office that doesn't want the office. Um, it's it's sad that we're in the shape that we're in, but this is what we have to deal with. So, we can say coulda, woulda, shoulda, but the truth is, what we have to do is look forward, look at what's happening, and make a plan to go forward from here. And it's very, very concerning to me that there have only been two firearms bills put in so far. Um, they're coming. I know they're coming. We all know they're coming. But this strategy that they have, I'm sure part of it is to not incite a huge lobby day like 2020, but what are they working on in the background there? Because they've had it very close to their chest, other than a couple of meetings that they could not um, hide from the public. So
Yeah,
this is this is a very dangerous time.
it is. They're playing a game of chess on this, and part again, as I said earlier, they're gambling that people will be complacent and say, "Well, I haven't heard anything about gun control, so I guess I don't need to worry about it." To which
Hmm.
all I can say is sucker, because it's coming. It's coming, and that you will find out the hard way. So it's kind of like, I know, like in Florida, my friend Dennis O'Connor lives down there now, and he was out in the pool one day. A hurricane was coming. He knew this was a monster hurricane headed his way, but he was sitting out in the pool looking up at blue skies. And if that's all you were looking at, that one moment in time, or everything leading up to that, you'd say it's going to be a great day. I've got nothing. I don't need to prepare for anything. Nothing's coming. But luckily, we have modern weather where he knew in a few hours those clear skies were going to disappear. Pretty soon a hurricane was going to go through big time. So you prepared. You started getting your doors boarded up, the whole bit, everything set up because you knew it was coming. This is where we are now. We're looking at somewhat blue skies because not much has gone in, but we're warning everybody just over the horizon. It's coming, and you can either ignore it and think it's going to stay blue and all the time, or you're going to be, and you'll be in for a big surprise, or you can prepare for it, and when it shows up, you're ready to go.
Yeah, you know, um, the I don't know how many of you are parents, but I have raised a couple of kids, and when I could hear the kids laughing and playing and carrying on and stuff, I knew where they were, I knew what they were doing, and I wasn't incredibly worried about it because I knew what was going on. But when they got quiet, that's when I worried, because something was going on that they didn't want me to know about. And that is the feeling that I have in my gut right now. So, like I said before, I'll say it again: 10 of your friends. If every single one of you commits to bringing 10 of your friends, and those friends commit to bringing 10 of their friends, we need that kind of a presence in Richmond every year, but especially this year.
Had to get a grin out of Wrench Head. The blue coats are coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're playing the part of Paul Revere here. We're holding up those lanterns and saying the bad stuff is on its way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're trying to get the word out. But really, we don't have access to all the gun owners. Again, Those of you who have friends that aren't watching any of this, they don't know. You guys could reach out and bring a lot more people into the picture, especially at gun clubs and hunting clubs. Like again, because a lot of those, I guarantee, if you start talking to some of those people, they'll have no idea what's going on. They've been paying no attention. So,
Absolutely.
you stand a chance of waking up people that we're not reaching. I wish we were reaching 750,000, all the permit holders. That alone would be a massive organization and a massive reach, but we're not. You guys represent 10% of that number. Because what are we at, Pat, now on VA Alert? Our membership is about 11,000, but VA Alert is at 70. Is it 77,000 now?
Something like that. It's been
It's
growing
gone up a
quite
lot,
a bit. Yes, absolutely.
but that's not
And our
membership.
membership is growing too. I haven't looked at the numbers lately,
Okay.
but it is growing. I've seen quite a few new members coming through. So we need an explosion in membership. Those membership dues. I mean, it's only $25 a year for an individual
And when
membership.
was the last time we
It's
raised that, Pat? It's been a long time since we raised it. It's been
over a
25 for,
decade.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying not to
So
raise it. We don't want to milk you money, but we need it. So we've kept the prices where they are, but we need people to join.
yeah. So G-Man says neighboring states will come to our aid. Yes, to a point. They won't probably come to Lobby Day, but they can't influence our legislature like we can. So um, we have to be a part of the government. I can't preach that enough. We have to participate in the process. We have to attend the committee meetings and testify, even if it's just virtual, and get up there and say I agree with VCDL's position. Boom,
Yeah, that's
that's it,
all.
done.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
easy to say. And G man, there's more. There's a reason they may show up as well. I think you're right. Some will show up. We've
Mm-hmm.
got some patriots in other states, West Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina. They're all around us in other states that come out before to help us. But one thing, again, that you're going to see is, and this is going to affect them, if Virginia withdraws reciprocity, that means that people from all these neighboring states aren't going to be able to carry here. If we don't
Yeah.
honor any, they're going to have to, maybe they'll have to get a Virginia permit, but
And
that's going to be probably made harder. So
and we
they do have skin in the game.
we've heard rumors of that. And I've heard them talking about the fact that these non-resident permits, that we can't do extreme background checks on them like we can on people in Virginia because we don't have access to their records. So what happens if they make it harder to get a non-resident Virginia permit, or bump the price up, or I mean, now they can wait indefinitely to issue a Virginia non-resident permit. We tried to get it set to 90 days last year.
Yeah, yeah,
3 months. I mean, if you can't do a background check these days in 3 months, something is drastically wrong.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's
yeah,
computerized, for goodness sakes.
yeah. But the
But
Democrats fought it. They didn't want to put it through.
yeah, I mean, they are attacking us on every single front that they
It
can. They're
doesn't
like
matter what
trying
it
to
is.
surround us.
Doesn't matter if it's how mild, a minor little correction or clarification. They don't want any of it. No corrections, no improvements, no nothing. Because
Yeah.
they don't care. They just want us disarmed, and that's the bottom line. And just keep reminding yourself of that. You can try to reason with them to some degree, but all you can really do is shame them or get them unelected so that we can get some good people in there that will restore our rights and get us back where we should be.
And if you have friends that are hunters that think nobody needs anything except a shotgun because that's all they use, and I've had hunters tell me that, by the way, let them know that the next time they want to buy a shotgun, they're going to have to get fingerprinted, and they're going to have to take a class, and they're going to have to apply for a purchase permit, and it's going to take months, and it's going to cost hundreds of dollars in addition to what it costs to buy the shotgun. And then once they get all of that done and they buy the shotgun, they're going to have to wait a week to take the thing home.
Yeah,
and
let
see
them
if
know
that
that.
doesn't motivate them.
That's a good point, Pat. We need to spread that to everybody out there. It's going to affect targets. It's going to affect all of us.
Hmm.
Whatever your part in the gun world is, whether it's collecting guns, target shooting, self defense, hunting, it's going to affect all of us.
Yeah, well, G-Man, this purchased a permit will affect the FUDs too.
Yes.
So G-Man says he has a friend that's a FUD. I know a lot of people. Of course, I run a gun store, so I see a lot of people that think that this is not a big deal. I had one guy that said, well, they'll grandfather in the band, so I don't care. I've got what I want. And I said, but what about your kids? Well, I don't have any kids, so, it doesn't matter to me. But the truth is, we are fighting now for the future generations. It's
You're either
not
a
just for
patriot or
us.
for crying out, Pat, you're either a patriot or you're not. You're
That's
either
it.
for this country or you're for yourself. If you're for yourself, you may as well just live in Venezuela. You know,
Hmm.
you'd be just as happy there. But if you're a patriot, if you're for freedom, if you're for liberty, if you're for future generations, whether you're a part of that future or whether you're not, that's a patriot.
Hmm.
We have a country that's full of patriots, but we also have a country full of people that frankly embarrass me. Quite frankly, they just embarrass me.
Hmm. Yep.
Leeches
So
living off the work of everybody else.
arm yourself with facts. Tom Greaves has a YouTube channel, and he's got a lot of videos out there with statistics like guns are used 16 times to stop crime for every time they're used in a crime. And you are, I think he said it was 60%, I don't remember the exact number, more likely to survive an attack, a violent attack, if you fight back. And I think it was 30% more likely if you fight back, and 60% if you fight back and are armed with a firearm. So, there are facts out there that contradict the BS that the anti gunners spew and the misrepresentation of the statistics that they give. And we need to know them, and we need to have evidence of this so that when we go and testify in committee, we can say, well, actually, what you're saying is not quite accurate. So,
And women benefit more than anybody from being
mm-hmm,
armed. The fairer sex absolutely benefits
mm-hmm,
more than anybody. And yet, most of the gun controllers are women, the very people who would benefit. But some of them are probably people that shouldn't have a gun because they can't control their tempers. A lot of the gun control crowd is like that. They just have bad tempers. They fear, and maybe rightfully so, that if they got mad enough, they would just kill somebody. Well,
mm-hmm.
okay, then you should stay away from guns. But I'm nothing like you. Leave me alone.
Right?
You
Yes,
go see a psychiatrist and leave me alone.
absolutely. And you're, by the way, one of the reasons that I carry a gun. So,
Exactly. Yeah, good point.
yes. So, let's see. G Man said he's spoken and texted with Tom. And yeah, we had him as a guest on a live stream a few months back. It was very interesting. Um, anyway, we've been going at this for an hour, and it's been a lot of fun. But it is Sunday night, and people need to get ready for work tomorrow. So, um, yeah, gee, Tom is a very good guy. Let's see. Are there any comments that we need?
John Wilburn, who I know very well. John
Mm-hmm.
known him for many many years. I will say this, John. John's comment is, well, I don't have a lot of faith that we'll ever get back anything of our rights. But I will say that VCDL had done that over the years. We got preemption passed, and we got back a ton. Got rid of a ton of local gun control when we did that. Now, yes, in 2020, they put some of that back. But in the meantime, a lot of localities that had local gun control never went back to it. So that was the example we moved forward. We went from a may issue to a shall issue on our permits back in 95. There have been a lot of
Under
victories where we kept restoring stuff. So I feel a little more optimistic, but yet you have to be with caution. This isn't going to happen quickly. It's not because of the elections.
So, also, the shall issue law was passed under total Democrat control, by the way.
Yeah,
Um,
50% of
to
Democrats.
those that say the right lost is gone forever, I say baloney.
Yeah,
Um, we hold Lobby Day on Martin Luther King Day, and some people have said, well, how can you do that? Martin Luther King fought for people's rights. Martin Luther King carried a gun because he was in fear for his life. He was also denied a carry permit. And he, through his inspiration, the civil rights movement gained rights for a lot of people and restored rights for a lot of people. So don't tell me that it can't be done. It has been done numerous times by a lot of organizations, including VCDL.
yeah.
R.C. Wing says that his two oldest sons will be coming with him to Lobby Day. They are 22 and 26 and tempted to bring a 12-year-old. Absolutely bring your
Absolutely.
12-year-old.
Yes, absolutely.
Lobby Day is one of the most beneficial educational opportunities that the children, especially school age kids, can have. And when I led teams in the past, almost every time I led a team, there were kids in the group and they stole the show.
Yeah, yeah.
They
They,
asked questions, they were polite, they really participated in the process. And again, the article that I wrote that was in the VA Alert that just came out this past week, talks about teaching your kids how to participate in government, how to be a responsible part of the community and perpetuate freedom. Our entire government process was built on the idea that we are the government. We send people to be our representatives, but we, the entire body of the people, are the government.
yeah,
And
and I think the children be proud to be there with their parents, don't you think, Pat? To have a chance to
absolutely,
be with mommy and daddy as they go out and fight for their rights in the future and
absolutely.
be a part of the system. I think that would be wonderful. After Dark said he'll be bringing John Crump with him. I think that's great. I know John. I've known John for many years. Be glad to see John there. I'm sure he'd want to cover that for his news reporting.
Sure. And so Steve said, say the day of Lobby Day again. It's always, always on the third Monday in January.
And
No, we
it's
can't
a
have it in the
yeah,
springtime because the General Assembly is not in session. We could have a party, but it wouldn't do any good as far as our rights go because they're not in session. But
yeah.
so they start the second week in January, so it's just after the start of the session. Um, it is Martin Luther King Day, so this coming year it is the 19th of January. If you're going to be in the area Sunday before Lobby Day, then we will have a Lobby Day dinner. It's on the website. You can go to vcdl.org/Lobby Day, one word Lobby Day, and get all the links to the buses, the carpools, maps for restaurants, reservations for Lobby Day dinner. Do get your bus seats very, very soon.
Yeah.
So, we're working on potentially other routes. So if there's something that you need that is not on there, again, I will say send an email to bus@vcdl.org. If you need to ride the bus and you can't afford the seat, send an email to bus@vcdl.org. People donate seats for people that can't afford to ride. Um, if you are organizing a bus from another area that we're not reaching, send us an email and let us know, and we will advertise the bus route on our website and give the information so that people can sign up for your bus. Um, Anything else I missed
Oh,
it, Philip.
no, not on that. I was going to say, Joshua said, I don't care what laws get passed. And I understand. Well, again, there's always civil disobedience. You can ignore any law you want if you're willing to pay the price if you get stuck in the legal system. But the problem is, how do you ignore the law about needing a permit to purchase a handgun? Because again, you can't go to a dealer. You could only buy third party guns. Yes, you could buy used guns and again, take a chance on getting arrested for not going through the system. But if you want a brand new gun, there's really no way around being stuck with the law that's passed. Some of them you could ignore, some of them you can't, because again, the dealers have no way, they can't do it because they will get in trouble. There's no, if they're going to do civil disobedience, they may as well just show up at the jail and go on in because they're not going to get around that. So you do have to care. You do have to watch this stuff because it will affect you one way or the other. And the General Assembly run by gun controllers will make damn sure it affects you.
Yep. So let's see. DL After Dark says, is it too cold to fight for your God-given rights?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I wonder what would have happened if George Washington and his men, when they were
Yeah.
crossing the Delaware, said, "No, it's too cold, not going."
Let's go home.
Yeah. Uh huh. Um,
Well, we would be kissing the king's ring right now, King of
yeah, and
England.
so being quietly compliant is not. It kind of is fighting for your rights in one way, but it's also not fighting for your rights. And do you want to be the test case? That's the question. I would much rather overturn the laws or prevent them from being passed in the first place. So, yeah, but breaking a law quietly in your basement that nobody knows about doesn't accomplish anything except for puts you and your family in jeopardy. So, we have to do what we have to do. I would love to be able to say we have a favorable General Assembly and we're going to see permitless carry passed and all sorts of, preemption totally reinstated and all of that stuff. That's down the road, folks. That's the plan in the future. But right
But
now, what we're doing is damage control and preventative maintenance. So um,
on,
this is the
on,
situation that we're in.
on how crazy is the parking? Well, I hope it's absolutely crazy because so many thousands of people are there. But parking in the street that day where they were, where they're going to cut off a street or two close to the General Assembly. But everywhere else in Richmond where there's street parking, it's free that day because it's a holiday. And yes, the General Assembly meets on that holiday. Absolutely, they're there for pretty much every holiday during January and February and sometimes into March. But there are parking garages. I think we have information on parking as well, or don't we,
There's
Pat?
yeah,
Yeah.
Lobby Day Travel page has a map to parking. Keep in mind, state parking garages are covered by the gun ban. So if you're going to park in a garage, make sure that it's a public garage and not a state garage. There are parking lots where you can pay to park. You don't have to feed the meters on the street, but the private parking lots you do have to pay. I don't know how crazy it's going to be. We do have buses stopping outside of Richmond, like at Green Top Sporting Goods. I think I'm waiting for confirmation for Green Top Sporting Goods, but I think we'll have a bus stopping there, so you can always park there and ride that last little bit in. Um, and I don't know if we will have the stadium parking lot again. I don't know if the stadium's still there. Is it? Did they knock it down?
It's still
They.
there, but it's got razor wire around it because Richmond is so safe. They put razor wire around the old stadium. I guess I don't know if
Yeah,
people were trying to chip off pieces of it and take it home. I don't know why they would put razor wire. I
and
laughed when I saw that. It was like, you got to be kidding me.
yeah, and you can always come on Sunday if you live far away. Come Sunday, spend the night in a hotel, and leave if it's close enough to the area, then you can walk or take a cab or a bus. But and the hotels, a lot of the hotels have parking garages where you can leave your car. So
Wrench had said that many of the public garages now require a smartphone to use. So,
yes,
uh,
they do.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to have a smartphone out there. If you don't have one, you're kind of approaching the time in life where you won't be able to do a lot without one. Um, so, all right. Well, it's now 9:13. I know people have to get up. I'm checking to see if there's any other urgent questions out there. You can always reach me at president@vcdl.org and Pat at treasurer@vcdl.org.
Hmm.
If you have any questions that don't get answered tonight.
Yep. And there's a
But
contact form on the website. There's volunteer pages on the website. I think we still need some team leaders. So if you've been to a lobby day before and you're willing to lead a team, click that button. And
we have somebody again asked, yes, there's going to be a pre-lobby day dinner. Details will be up on the vcdl.org/lobby day.
yep,
Yes, we will be doing that on Sunday, the 18th.
right.
And
I
we
haven't
always have.
I haven't arranged a restaurant yet. I will be doing that probably this week. But yeah, we will have a place that has fairly neutral food and big enough room that people can have some social time.
And a quick one to
And
Steve. Sorry, I'm sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
no,
I
go
was going
ahead.
to
I was going to answer Steve's about the
Yeah,
lawsuits.
we were both headed to the same one.
Uh huh.
We're focusing in on you there, Steve DeSimmons. Yes, we can once the law has been signed, but an injunction can take years and a lot of money. We probably will be doing a lot of that. We're kind of planning. We can only do so much depending on our budget because it's $20,000 assuming the GOA picks up half of it. If they don't, then it's $40,000 to walk in the door on these suits, and we will be doing those depending on how big the piggy bank is. But they take time.
They
So
do.
while it would be nice to think that some of these could stop a law before it goes into effect, and it may be possible, it just really depends. It's more than likely something that could actually take a few years to strike down.
So the first step is to ask for an emergency injunction. Okay. That is almost never granted. You have to show that you have a very strong chance of winning the case, and you have to show hardship for the people that the law affects, and an extreme hardship for the people that the law affects. So, um, they, yes, we will try for emergency injunctions. We always do. That there is not a huge chance that they will be granted. So,
But again,
and
we will be trying. I'm sure, hopefully, the NRA will get involved in those suits. GOA has been a
mhm,
great partner on this and has gotten in with us. And yeah, we will be fighting to do exactly that.
right,
Ideally, I'd like to stop it so we don't have to do that, but it is another playing card in our deck.
so yeah, lawsuits are very expensive, and the average lawsuit that we fight is well in excess of $50,000. So we prefer to block the legislation in the first place, but we are prepared, and we have started the Virginia Citizens Defense Foundation to help fund some of these lawsuits, and that is a 501c3 charitable organization. So if you have a company that matches charitable organizations, especially this time of year, you can make a donation to the VCDF and get your company to match it. So,
Let's see. There was another one that came up. Brian Butler. We're not in the Second Circuit, Brian. We're in the Fourth Circuit. And the Fourth Circuit is not much better than the Ninth Circuit out in California. It's been inundated with judges from Obama and Biden. So they've made some clearly bad rulings. This is why, I mean, they've already said that the Fourth Circuit's already ruled in Maryland for Maryland, and they're part of the Fourth Circuit as well. Fourth Circuit covers Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. The Fourth Circuit has already said these purchase permits are constitutional. That's how bad these guys are. So they've
Yes.
already said that. That's why the Democrats feel really empowered on these, because they can say, well, Fourth Circuit's already said these are constitutional. Well,
Mhm.
it's got to go to the Supreme Court for that to get changed. But that's,
Right.
or we can go in Virginia. We don't have to go to the federal government. We can go to our own Supreme Court. We've got ways of fighting this. Our attorneys are who gets to make the advice on that. I mean, they know this. This is what they do for a living. And we go
Yeah.
with their advice as to which way to go and how to do it.
And the prices that we're quoting, by the way, are for filing in state courts. When you start
True.
filing in federal courts, you can double and triple that really fast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they ideally, we'd like to nip this in the bud in the state courts.
Absolutely. Yep, we will be doing that.
All right, folks. January 19th, Martin Luther King Day, third Monday in January. Mark it on your calendars for every single year to ask for that day off and plan on being in Richmond, but absolutely plan on being there in 2026.
And the rally is at 11 o'clock this year. It's been 10 o'clock for the last few years. It's at 11, a much better time slot. The old one we used to have. 11 o'clock is when the rally is at the bell tower. Obviously, we want people there at 8 to lobby, but around just before 11, we need everybody to head out to the bell tower for what would hopefully be a huge rally there.
And Philip, can you send out a VA alert early this week about how to get flyers for Lobby Day to share around?
Yeah. We can put a link so people can they can even print out their own flyers if they want.
Bruce blew through the first batch of 5,000 and he ordered 5,000 more. But he said that he's got that whole 5,000 sitting there. So if you need lobbies to flyers to share around about Lobby Day, Philip will put it in an email blast, or we'll get it up on the website somewhere where you can find that information. There was something else that I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was. So I guess that means I'm getting old and tired.
I think tired is probably what it is.
Old is in there somewhere. So, so anyway, plan on being at Lobby Day. Plan on bringing 100 or 2 of your best friends, and visit vcdl.org/lobby day for a bunch of good information.
Yeah. So, and we'll have one more virtual meeting before Lobby Day itself. Our next virtual meeting will be on January 11th.
And we'll probably have an in-person meeting or 2 as well.
We're going to try in January, maybe early January.
Right. Yeah. Philip and I both have things going on, and we got Christmas and New Year and stuff like that.
It's going to be hard to get people together between now and the start of the new year.
Absolutely. So I'm wishing all of you guys a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Stay warm in this weather. We're still at 18 degrees outside. That's not too bad. Yeah. Bikini weather. I'm gonna stoke the wood stove, and I hope to see every single one of you at Lobby Day. I want to thank you for joining us. Please share this video with your friends. It'll be on the VCDL YouTube under the Live tab, and let everybody know that how important this is, because our rights are in dire jeopardy, and we really need to step up and protect the future for our kids, grandkids, and future generations. So thanks, folks, for joining us, and we will see you in the next one.
Goodbye, guys. Merry Christmas.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah.